The first person I'd like to recognize tonight is Kenny Herzog. Kenny has worked tirelessly and relentlessly on behalf of getting information and vaccines to anyone eligible for the COVID-19 doses in Lower Westchester County and beyond. He was involved in the Greenburgh Snow Angels for many years. He helped organize the COVID Angels initiative that launched early in 2021, as soon as vaccines were starting to become available. And he spent many, many hours getting that effort organized with scripts and various written materials. And he was also interviewed on some of the news programs early in the year about the importance of helping people get vaccinated. It was hard to get vaccinations in January and February, but later on during the summer, it became easier, but it also became more challenging because a lot of people, when we shifted to phase 2, did not want to take the vaccines. So Kenny, working, with the town of Greenburgh, shifted to phase 2 with a project renamed Vax Up Westchester. And what Vax Up Westchester has done, thanks to Kenny's hard work and leadership, is they've been able to address hesitancy and access. He has done an amazing job leading the effort of informing. He's converted hesitant people who don't want to take the vaccines, persuaded them to change their mind. He's organized pop-up, clinics all over the area, and he receives no salary or stipend, but he's spent thousands of hours helping us save lives of residents in the town and the county. So far, thanks to his efforts, over 1,000 people have gotten COVID shots in their arms or boosters. So I would like to recognize Kenny Herzog for his outstanding efforts during this pandemic, and he really should take pride in the fact that he has saved many, many lives during the past year. So thank you, Kenny. And would you like to say a few words? Just go to the mic.
This mic? Yes. Good. Is this fine? Okay. Well, it's weird to talk into the mic, but with everyone to my back. Okay. All right. This is. Okay. Firstly, it's super important to thank Paul and everyone with the town of Greenburgh, Krista Matson on down, for allowing myself and the rest of the cohort of people who have been working on this Vax Up Westchester thing for months, and the COVID Angels before it, giving us the imprimatur of the town and the latitude to kind of spread our wings and do this wherever it was needed. As we know, unfortunately, case rates are still escalating everywhere, and this thing remains insidious, and it kind of underscores that, we can't just cherry pick certain stats that make things look better than they are and ignore the fact that there's a cycle of disinvestment in certain neighborhoods and communities that ultimately, affects everyone. And it always should have been looked at through that prism, that if we don't invest in the welfare of one community, we're not investing in the welfare of the entirety of our region. So if you have any interest in knowing more about what we're doing or helping us in any way, we do have a website, vaxupwestchester.org. We have an email, which isn't fancy, but it's vaxupwestchester@gmail. And mostly, I wish the rest of the volunteers who've been so instrumental, and partners of ours who helped administer vaccines and amplify our message, were here to share in this, and I mean, I could go down a whole roll call of them. I won't right now, but hopefully they know who they are, and I thank them constantly. And thank you so much for the acknowledgement.
And you've also been doing it in schools and all over.
Oh yeah, with pediatric vaccines, boosters, you name it. We're a one-stop shop and for public health at the moment. And again, thanks to Paul and everyone here for allowing us to get this off the ground and keep it going. Thank you.
And I just want to also, recognize the Greenburgh Neighborhood Health Center, because they are really amazing. I feel that they're, really one of the biggest assets that we have in the town. The health center is giving booster shots without appointments every Monday and Wednesday from 10 to 3. I was at the health center just checking it out on Monday, and there was a lot of people there, getting the vaccines. And the staff is, I sort of apologize because I publicized the fact that anybody could get the vaccine, so it was like overcrowded with a lot of people. But they didn't mind. Their staff is really dedicated. They're really hardworking. They are such a fantastic asset. I was thinking of a not-for-profit that, I think is like one of the best in the whole, that I've ever worked with, and they are definitely the one of the top 2 or 3 that I've ever seen. Yeah, I'm just like so appreciative and so grateful to their staff, and so glad they're part of our town.
Yes, amen.
Thank you. So if you haven't gotten your vaccine, please stop by at the health center on Monday or Wednesday, and it doesn't take a long time, and I don't think you're going to, you could save your life, so it's really important. Next, I was sort of thinking, as I was driving here, there's over 150 or 160,000 people in Westchester County who are senior citizens, people over 65 years old. And, that's a lot of people. And Westchester County every year chooses to name some of the best of the seniors, and they put the seniors on their Hall of Fame. This year, they selected 2 people in the whole county as their number 1 and number 2 senior citizens in the entire county. And just not to name drop, but I know Lloyd Cort, and Lloyd Cort was named the number 1 senior citizen in Westchester County this year. It really shouldn't surprise us. He really probably should be the number 1 senior citizen in the whole state, or maybe in the whole nation, because Lloyd has done, so much. He's a retired senior banking technology analyst. He's been the head of the Parkway Gardens Civic Association. He's served on on numerous boards. He's the chair of the Community Development Advisory Committee, has served as chair of the Police Community Advisory Commission. He was president of the Old Guard of Westchester, even though many people think he's too young to be part of the Old Guard. He's a bell ringer for the Salvation Army. I mentioned the Parkway Garden Civic Association has been president. He was a member of the Council of Greenburgh Civic Association. He's been involved in the Greenburgh Central School District Community Engagement Committee. He served years ago on the Greenburgh Budget Oversight Commission, the Chatterton Hill Church, and he's just been a constant advocate, helping fight for underserved young people, adults, seniors. He helped the Theater Young Community Center get a $28 passenger ADA-compliant bus for our seniors, improving access to creative programs to youth, and preserved open space and develop a better park system to better benefit lower-income families. We could go on and on. Next year, you're going to see a sidewalk on Hillside Avenue. And who was responsible for that? Lloyd. He worked on getting landmark status for the home of Gordon Parks. So this is just like not even doing justice, because he's done a lot more. So today, members of the town board and I are declaring December 8th Lloyd Cort Day in the town of Greenburgh. And since it's a holiday, we're going to cancel the rest of the town board meeting. So good. So I'm going to now give you the proclamation, and thank you very much for all your service to our town and community. And I know there's people from Parkway Gardens who feel that I didn't do enough justice by putting all your accomplishments here. Thank you.
And Paul Kleiner, our town supervisor, may I just add that behind every great man is an amazing woman. Will Gwen Cort please come forward to join her husband at the podium? Gwen Cort?
All right.
This is funny.
Do I know her?
More importantly, she knows you.
My roommate is just being silly.
Look at the camera.
Roommate.
Look at the camera. Well, should I escort her back to the city? Not Court, but escort her back. Okay. This is a proclamation, isn't it? I guess I deserved it.
Long time ago.
Uh-oh.
Well, at this point, I will say good evening, Mr. Paul Feiner. Oops. Excuse that. Superintendent. Supervisor Paul Feiner.
An amazing woman.
Members of the Greenburgh Town Board, ladies and gentlemen. There is so much I can say, but I realize the need to be brief. It's snowing outside. It is indeed an honor to receive this unexpected recognition for my attention for an actions or contributions I have made to my community and to my beloved town of Greenburgh. While much has been written about historic neighborhood and its former famous residents, I want to pay respect and gratitude to the many ordinary people who call Parkway Gardens homes, like the teachers, nurses, small businessmen, caregivers, postal service workers, GM plant members and employees, all who contribute to maintaining the beauty of Parkway Gardens. My family and I have called home for approximately 5 decades. It's our village, and it takes a a village to raise a child. Yes, sorry. Our children grew up in a safe, warm environment with surrogate aunts and uncles, too many to mention. Grandparents like my next-door neighbor, the Robinsons, Kitty, and so on. We are always mindful and grateful that my car took a wrong turn and found myself in Parkway Gardens, a biblic and neighborhood. Yes, there was still little farming areas there. I became the owner of 123 South Road, despite redlining is equally providential, but I will spare that detail for another time. As fate will have it, my wife Gwen and I, young, inexperienced parents of Renee, a toddler, were blessed to be embraced, aided, and supported by our neighbors who soon became family. I am also pleased now to accept this award on behalf of all those who worked tirelessly, including former Civic Association presidents and their boards. Sincere acknowledgement and thanks to the current Parkway Gardens president, Dawn Jewel Wise. And her executive board, Deborah Brooks, Mr. Ken Jones, Karen Gatson Tapp, and Edward. Okay, she's there, so I gotta call her. Emma Whitehall. All their unparalleled support during my long tenure. My hope is, together, the vigilance of Parkway Gardens Civic Association and the community at large will continue to maintain and support the beauty and ambience of Parkway Gardens, not generally expected of us. I personally believe that none of us could change our yesterdays, but together we can change our tomorrows. Thank you very much.
Powerful.
Lloyd, don't sit down.
Don't sit down.
At this time, we'd like to ask members of the Parkway Gardens Civic Association to come forward.
That's fine. I don't know. Huh? Okay.
Talk to the microphone.
All right. So on behalf of the Parkway Gardens Civic Association, we honor you for your tireless effort. We have a plaque here that reads, Lloyd Cort, in appreciation for your years working as a committed, fierce, and tireless advocate for the betterment of the Parkway Gardens community, Parkway Gardens Civic Association Executive Board honors you 2021.
You got more to say?
Yep.
I salute you today, tomorrow, and all the tomorrows. Thank you very much.
All right, Lloyd.
Thank you. Madeleine O'Shea wanted to participate by Zoom. We have her. Okay, so next, could people see her on the screen or no? Okay.
Everybody who is standing up in the back, I just want to make you aware that there are seats up front. So all the ones that do not have the white piece of paper taped to it, you can sit at. So please feel free. You don't have to stand throughout the meeting. You can sit down.
So are we ready yet? Okay, next. Hi. Next, I'd like to recognize Madeleine O'Shea, who is also a recipient of one of the Hall of Fame awards. I first met Madeleine and her husband when I was in high school, and I remember one day listening to a radio program and somebody was talking, and I had no idea what the person was saying, and I couldn't understand the person, and I found out it was me. I'll never forget that. And so Madeleine's husband, Rod, invited me to his house like every week for a couple years, and gave me speaking classes, and gave me a lot of advice. And I wanted to mention, because I know Madeleine said that her grandchildren are listening to this program. Madeleine, for decades, has attended many, many meetings of the town board. And most of the time, when she speaks, she's been critical of some of our policies. So I was sort of thinking today, why are we honoring somebody who, for 30 years or more, has attended many, many meetings objecting to some of our policies on land use, coming up with constructive comments. And I was thinking, this is what democracy is all about. We need people like Madeleine O'Shea in the community who will show up at board meetings, express their views. She's always been, constructive. She has always been armed with facts, knows the zoning laws and the planning laws almost word for word. Even before I was elected to anything, when I was in school, she would attend meetings of the town board and express herself. And sometimes when you're a civic activist and a community leader, you may speak about a matter, and even if people in government don't always listen, maybe 5 years later or 10 years later, what you said earlier becomes law, and it catches on. So Madeleine has been inducted last week into the Westchester County Senior Citizen Hall of Fame. She's being recognized for her outstanding accomplishments. As I mentioned, she has spoken at numerous meetings for decades at town board meetings. She is a former president of the Edgemont Community Council. She was also a recipient of the Silver Box Award, which is the most prestigious award given to a resident of Edgemont for her community involvement. Her husband, Rod, also has been very involved in the community. Sadly, he passed away in recent months. She's devoted, not hundreds of hours of time to the town, but tens of thousands of hours, and that might be an understatement. And she's also motivated many other people to get involved. And she's monitored town board meetings, and I know that she's made a positive difference in the lives of others. And I think all the members of the board recognize the fact that democracy works best when there is oversight of government by our citizens. And Madeleine has been a role model for citizen activists. She's constructive, respectful, armed with facts, and passionate about the issues she feels strongly about. So we're also declaring today as Madeleine O'Shea Day in Greenburgh. And since I complimented you, the Edgemont Community Council said you're not invited back.
Paul, before Madelon speaks, I would just like to add some things about Madelon that you have not mentioned. I've served as town board liaison to the Historic Land and Preservation Board, and Madelon has been its chair for many, many years. I don't even remember how many. And she is very, very dedicated to protect the historic places here in Greenburgh, and we have many, and we heard about one of them this evening. And there are many, many more. And she's dedicated, she and her board have dedicated so many hours to this, and I want to thank her for all the time that she has spent doing that for the town and continues to do it. And we appreciate all her efforts. And so I'm very happy for this award to have been given to you as well.
I would like to make a comment. I've known Madelon for quite a long time now through the Council of Greenburgh Civic Associations, which I sat on as a president, and then I would show up occasionally as a council member. Madelon criticized us quite a bit, the board, before I got on there. I would either speak before or after about some of the board policies. But one thing about Madelon is that if she got up at that microphone, she always wrote out in advance her speeches. I always admired that. How could you take the time to write out your speeches? But there's a saying that says, I didn't have time to make it short. And Madelon took the time to say what she wanted to say, and that was it. It wasn't whether or not, I got another 2 minutes, let me stretch this out. And more often than not, in my opinion, she was right in what she was saying from the microphone. I always knew how much trouble we were in. When Madelon got up to the microphone, again, she always wrote it out, and she would come up with her paper or a pad, and she would have a pen in her hand, and that pen would tap what she was reading. And the more that pen tapped, the more I knew we were in trouble. And so, just an amazing person, and she certainly deserves the award.
So, Madeline, would you like to say?
Thank you. Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Thank you. I want to thank County Legislator Alfreda Williams for nominating me and for this town board for recognizing me tonight. You said some lovely things. I really appreciate it. I also must thank my 3 children and my 7 grandchildren who have heard and still hear, probably even in their sleep, I have a meeting tonight. It all started with the town's need for a dog leash law when we first moved into the town 50 years ago. The late Lynn Bettman and I crafted the beginnings of what is on the books today, and I've been volunteering ever since. I follow in the footsteps of my grandmother and my father. Our family has always given back. My late husband and I believe in the health, safety, welfare, and quality of life for all town residents. And I thank all of you who have given and continue to give me the opportunity to practice what we preach. Thank you.
That's another example of you took the time to make it short.
Should we do
Thanks, Brandon.
the signing now?
Thank you. Are we done?